Welcome to the MOSHAPE Minute. My name is Guy Danhoff, and we want to thank you for this special edition. Today, we are joined by Shape America President Brett Fuller. Brett, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me on the MOSHAPE Minute. This is fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we got a lot going on, and
Yep.
obviously we know you're from the state of Wisconsin, but I was wondering if you could give the viewers, because I'm sure there's some people, especially all the new people that have been joining in the last, 3 to 6 months, give us a little background about you and some of the things that you've done.
Well, I grew up in a small town from Palmyra, Wisconsin, 1,500 people when I was growing up. When I graduated from University of Wisconsin-Whitewater in 1990, couldn't find a job. So my first teaching job was out in the middle of the Mojave Desert at the Silver Valley Unified School District. Lasted a year in the desert, taught elementary school out there, but it was a great experience. Came back, still couldn't find a job, and I subbed for about a year and a half until I finally decided I needed to go into the big city. So I moved to Milwaukee and made a lot more money subbing. And after about a year and a half of subbing, I landed a job as a physical education teacher at Marshall High School. Taught there for 12 years, 13 years actually, sorry. And then an opportunity came along and I became the curriculum specialist for health and physical education for the entire district. We have about 160 schools, 75,000 students, around 150 physical education teachers. And it's been in the last 13 years that I have been in that role that I really became even more involved with our state association, Wisconsin Health and Physical Education. I served on a NASP board for a while, and I was a former board member of Shape America for the last 3 years, and fortunate enough to be asked to step in and fill the role for Roger when he had to step down as president-elect. And so I had 3.5, 4 months to prepare for my presidency, which is normally a year-long time to prepare, and I've been president since April, which has been a very interesting time as president. So, as we both know.
So, Brett, as I learned, obviously, last week from talking to you, as you addressed the board of directors here at MOSHAPE, I'll be honest with you, I found it fascinating. We actually kind of forget that, that you've only really had 3 to 4 months, and then on top of it, you run yourself right into a pandemic. Literally, right as the stay-at-home order is going on, there's the changing of the gavel, and now here you are. And so I'm going to be tongue-in-cheek with this question, and we'll get serious in a second. So I have to get your thoughts on. I know your good buddy Jamie Sparks, past president. Yep. He's known for the tattoos, and just recently going down a slide head first. And we all know and love Judy LoBianco. I said she's only one hit away from receiving a Grammy Award with her musical talents. I think a lot of the people around the country would like to know what's going to be your thing over your presidency. Because the bar's been kind of set kind of high.
Well, that is actually kind of funny too, and I have 2 incredibly high bars to jump over there if I'm going to actually do anything. It's interesting though is I did our school district did an online event asking teachers and staff to show your talent, and so I do fake play the banjo. But I don't think I'm going to do what Judy does because I don't have the same repertoire as her. But so I play the banjo. So you can look for that on my Facebook feed. You can find me playing the banjo. But I've still got to work out what my big thing is going to be. So I don't know. But that's 2 really challenging people to follow, I guess.
So Brett, when you do though, I have to ask, this is a favor now.
Yep.
Will you let MOSHAPE break the news, whatever that's going to be? Because we love breaking news, as you know.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
All right. Now getting to a more serious question. I think this question has to be asked because I know during the time because you were obviously part of the board and you guys know that you guys had to eventually cancel the convention, which obviously everyone's just been saddened. So the big question I have for you is, why did you still want to do this, knowing that, okay, convention's over, now you're walking into a pandemic, and now we have a changing of the guard. And I mean, honestly, no president has ever had to face the challenges that you are during your presidency. I know you've been doing it now for 90 days, but I think a lot of people would really want to know your why.
Well, my why is I've always been and always try to be a servant leader. I'm not the boss. I'm here to serve the members, and that's how I try treating the teachers I work with here at Milwaukee Public Schools. My job is not to go out there and tell them what to do. My job is to find resources for them, to provide some guidance and some direction, and to give them the resources they need to be able to work with our kids. And that's really my why. I go back to thinking my first day of teaching, when I'm teaching a new class at the high school I taught at. I always told my students my why there, and my why then was my father. My father died of heart disease at the age of 57.
Wow.
And then his father died of heart disease of age 57. And it was because of him, and because I had an incredibly strong physical education teacher when I was in high school, that I said, I think this is what I want to do. And so that's really the why. It's like I want to serve our kids. The best way to serve our kids is by serving the teachers that work for us. And this right now is more important. And I actually see this as a huge opportunity.
Yep.
It's devastating to our country, what's going on. The lives lost, we cannot get back.
Right.
But I think this is an opportunity for health and physical education teachers to let people know how important we really are, and
Absolutely.
Don't be on the sidelines. And I think it's not just about throwing out that basketball and teaching kids how to shoot hoops or throw a football or kick a soccer ball. It's about teaching about the skills they need to be healthy and happy for a lifetime, for health and physical education.
Right. Brett, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I'll be honest with you. As you know, you probably hear me say this all the time. I know Dr. Dochev always promotes the book to all of us as leaders, and that is, Simon Sinek, start with your why. And yeah, when you have a why that strong and your mindset is to serve, that's just some of the best leadership you can possibly do. So with it, I have a very special guest for you. At the MOSHAPE Minute, you just never know what's going to happen. So I want to let her come in and join us. And she happens to be someone that you actually know. So let's bring her in. Hopefully she's still there. She's actually teaching right now. There she is.
Hey, Terry.
Hey. We are joined by our own Terry Garner. Terry happens to be one of our board of directors. She's also the Shape America Central District President. Terry, how are you?
I'm great. I'm at school having a great day. Hi, Brett. Hi, everyone. And I'm here, Brett, to give you a shout out, to congratulate you on your presidency, and to share how very excited we are about your leadership. And guess what? I'm going to share some insight with all of our listening friends about Shape America President time. Okay, you ready for this?
Sure.
Okay, so I had the privilege to conduct professional development at Milwaukee Public Schools over several days and years, and I found out some important information that I think you all should know about President Brett Fuller. The first thing I learned about was from your people, because I got to talk to your people when you weren't right there. And here's what I learned. Your people respect and appreciate what you do, and they say that when you're not around. And that's really important, that's really important in leadership, and something that we all can look forward to in your leadership at Shape America. The second thing that I want to talk about is your theme, Stronger Together. Because when I was in MPS, I absolutely loved how you brought in the leaders of the Boys and Girls Club to train alongside your physical educators, because you wanted your students to hear that same messaging, and you wanted your leaders and your teachers to use those same strategies. So my point is, you don't just talk the talk, but you walk the walk, and you were doing that long before you became president of Shape America. So we're just super happy for you, and we're happy for all of us. And please know that you have our support and that we have your back. That was a happy Zoom bomb, wasn't it?
That was good. Thank you, Terry. Really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, and we're looking forward to everything that you're going to do this year and beyond.
Yep.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, now I have to go back to school.
All right. Thank you, Terry.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Brett, as she's exiting, I kind of want to, pivot to actually, she brought up something from your past, and I want to say this to everyone watching. I thought one of the most extraordinary stories I heard was a problem that you were faced with in your career. So facing tough challenges is nothing new for you. And I was wondering if you could tell our viewers a little bit about the tough challenge you were facing with teen pregnancies from 15 to 17-year-olds, because that was an extraordinary undertaking that you guys did right there in Milwaukee. I was wondering if you could briefly kind of walk the listener through this story, because it just goes to show again of the type of leader that you are.
Well, again, when it comes to the type of leader I've tried to be, it's again, being a servant leader, and it's all about finding those resources and partners. And I've been in my role for about 3 months as a curriculum specialist for health and PE. I've been, in Milwaukee now 27 years, but I've been in that role in the district, in the city of Milwaukee for about 14, living in the city. We had been in the top 10 for teen pregnancy. The city of Milwaukee had been amongst 15 to 17-year-olds for over 10 years. And our United Way stepped up and put together a coalition of community members, including businesses, the faith community. They invited schools, they invited people from the legislature, and just even people who were not associated with anybody could come and join our coalition. And they came up with a plan to reduce teen pregnancy by 2015. Now, I was at the first meeting. They rolled out the plan. It was actually my first meeting. And there's like 40 some people in this room. It's a huge coalition. And I'm the only one representing Milwaukee Public Schools. And the health commissioner for the city of Milwaukee says we're going to reduce teen pregnancy by 46% by 2015. This is in 2007. And I snickered out loud. And every head in the room turned to me, and I was like, I'm sorry, I work in education. We don't work in 46%. We work in 3 to 5% increments, not this huge number. The health commissioner said, we've looked at the data. We've looked at all the things we need to do as a community to make this change. And if we do this, we will hit these numbers. And every year he kept up with the same thing. And every year our numbers went down. And I was no longer skeptical. Now, what we did in Milwaukee Public Schools, instead of teaching, we had what we called a K through 12 curriculum that had not been reviewed or looked at since in 5 years. And it was really in grade bands. It was a group of lessons for kindergarten through second grade, 3rd through 5th, 6th through 8th, and high school. And one of the first things we did is we actually made separate lessons for every grade level. We also did it ourselves instead of buying a curriculum, because that way I could give it to every classroom teacher in the city who was required to teach sex ed under our policies and who had not been held accountable for that. And so I worked with the principals, I worked with and worked with teachers to actually come up with a curriculum that they could teach. So we have lessons now, 5-year-old kindergarten through 9th grade. We've been doing this now since 2008. And it was one of the proudest moments in my professional career when I was at a press conference, which I had no idea what I was asked to come to the press conference. I kind of got a guess, but they didn't say what it was about. And it was in 2013 in October that the mayor of Milwaukee said that we had not only reached our goal 2 years earlier, we had surpassed it and we'd reduced teen pregnancy by 50%. Now, what does that mean? We had 52 births for every 1,000 15 to 17-year-olds in our high schools when we started. That meant if you only have 500 girls in a 1,000 school high school, we're having 26 births every year. Right. We reduced that down to now, I think we're around now 8 or 9. Okay. So we've done a lot of great work. We're not done yet. This coalition still is meeting. And we've still got work to do because the number's still too high, but we've made a life and we've saved kids' lives. We are making a difference in our community. And again, it's not just Milwaukee Public Schools. There was a huge campaign all over the city that was in barbershops, in the community centers. Bus wraps had stuff on it. So it was a huge campaign. We'll have to talk about it more at some point if people are really interested in seeing what we did. But the United Way, thank you for them for stepping up. This was very unusual for United Way to do something like this, to step and make this one of their causes, and it's paid off for our community.
Right. First of all, congratulations. I mean, that's a huge feat. Obviously, huge challenge, even especially when you had that outburst on day one. and you had all those eyes looking at you. Well, I'm going to just say this. I'm going to frame it for everyone right now. I think we're kind of in a similar situation because right now you are our president, and right now all the eyes are certainly on Shape America and certainly you as our leader. So the question I have is I wanted to get your thoughts as, for example, Indiana, they're going to be starting school next week. Missouri is starting in about 3 weeks. So I wanted to get your thoughts on school reentry and how that plays into the health and PE guidelines that we've been slamming content over the past couple of weeks. So I just want to get your insights on that.
School reentry, that's a tough one. And it's happening, and again, Wisconsin, my district is on 2 different calendars, and we've got our high school starting in 3 weeks. You know, what I think we have done, and I cannot be more proud of the staff at Shape America for what they've done in the last, 4 or 5 months and in preparation for the coming school year. To start with, also just the resources they've made available at the end of the school year are still going to be available at the beginning of the school year. And they've made this incredible pivot where some of these resources can be used virtually, which is what many school districts, especially large urban districts, a lot of them seem to be like my district, starting the school year off as virtual. We just found that out last week.
Okay.
Where others are going to be hybrid, and others are going to be going back full tilt. So we have to be able to prepare resources for our teachers. And I think Shape America's done a wonderful job of starting that process. So I worry about our teachers across the country who are facing either layoffs or being told they're not going to be teaching physical education. They're going to be teaching just regular classroom instruction because of the COVID-19. And we need to keep on the advocacy component of that. And right. I think that Shape America's done a good job in getting resources out for advocacy as well, because here's the reality. The advocacy Shape America does at the national level is incredible. They are constantly in communication with federal officials, including the CDC, who asked us to support them in creating the reopening guidelines, recommendations that came out a few weeks ago.
Yep.
I mean, so we're lockstep with the CDC. We're constantly up talking to members of the legislature on the Hill. So Shape America is doing that, but that's their venue. The venue for the states are the states, and the venue for your local school district really has to be the local teachers. And so having those resources that Shape America is preparing and taking them, like the recent document that talks about kind of why is health and physical education important right now, that came out last week from Shape America, that's a real necessity for any teacher. And the reality is, and I've heard Jamie say this, and we've talked about this with previous presidents as well, if you wait until it's on your school board before you share those documents or you talk with your school board members, it's too late. Now, it could turn around at that meeting. Right. But what you need to do is you need to be proactive, and you need to actually get out there in front of your school board members, the other parents, the people in the legislatures in your states and in your communities. Let them know how important our job is right now, because it really is.
Right.
We have social emotional learning that's part of what we teach in health and physical education. Our kids need that more now than ever before. And that's why I said this is an opportunity for us. So we have to be really proactive and not sit back. And so the school openings, we have to be flexible. And that's the one thing I've learned teaching in a large urban school district. I've never been bored in my entire career, the 27 years at my school district, because no day has ever been the same. No day. I can't go back and say, I've done that before, because guess what? I'm going to see something new every day of my career. And that's, you have to be flexible.
So Brett, with that, then why don't you talk to us about now, be a great time, is about, your presidency now. As you didn't discover this when you first took office, you kind of discovered this along the way. Talk to us then about what you mean and what would we need to know so we can advocate, so we can do things more efficiently and effectively. Talk to us about your Stronger Together.
Yeah, so that was really interesting too, because like I said, I didn't have the full year to figure out what I wanted to do. And I'd been struggling with this. When I was president of our state association, we were built to move. And I'd been saying that to my teachers for a decade before that was an easy one. But this was not so easy at the national level, because I don't think we were built to move really epitomes, talks about health quite as much as I wanted to. And then COVID hit, and
Right.
I was simply amazed, and again, incredibly proud of the people in our profession, because you always hear stories of other teachers, how they're protective of what they're teaching. They don't want to share their stuff all the time. That was not the case with our health and physical education teachers. I started seeing on social media, on Voxer, Twitter, and Facebook, people sharing what they're doing, what's working for them, their experiences, sharing lesson plans, sharing lesson ideas, activities, sharing what they're telling their administration. We really came together, I
Right.
thought, as a community. And again, I think our state associations did a wonderful job of building on that and supporting our teachers, and so did Shape America. But it was not Shape America by itself who led that. It was really the community coming together. And then it just kind of hit me there that, stronger together, really, we are stronger together.
Yep.
And that's really the impetus behind this. We need to keep doing what we've done for the last 3 or 4 months. We need to draw even closer together and continue supporting us. Those elementary physical education teachers who are the only PE teacher in their building, they need to make certain that they're touching base with other elementary teachers in their district, in their communities, to draw on what's going to help them make a difference for our kids. Because it always, for me, comes back to the kids.
Right.
Now, again, that also means we've got to support and educate our administration at our local levels.
Right.
And even within my own district, where we've got a very strong program, I was asked to be on the health committee looking at some of our roles and how we're going to do it when we reopen. And one of the first things that they said is, well, we'll use the choir rooms and the gymnasiums to teach regular classes. And my one comment was, and again, this is a district that's actually done a pretty good job for health and physical education over the years. And I'm proud of the work we've done. But here, it was still even a suggestion here. I said, our physical education teachers teach in the gym. That was the end of it. It was done. But if I hadn't been there,
Right.
if I had not been there, that would have gone further and may have gone all the way up to the superintendent's office. Now, here's the thing about it, and that's what our teachers, they've got to stop letting other people make these decisions. We've got to be out there and advocate. Every one of us stronger together.
Well, Brett, with that, stronger together, let's talk about last Thursday. Obviously, it was the online backyard Shape Advocacy Day. And I just want to give a shout out to Joey and Stephanie and all you guys, because you guys gave us a lot of great resources that we could share on social media. Carly did a fantastic job with the video explaining what we need to do. So my question now is, what were some of the highlights of last Thursday's Shape Advocacy Day?
Well, I'm going to be really honest on this. We're still going to have to wait and find out. I mean,
Right.
it just happened.
Right.
But looking at the excitement and the amount of retweets, I spent an hour one night retweeting what people tweeted all day on Thursday. Going through and it's like, okay, because we want to keep getting it out there, and so then more and more people would see it. So it really, I think it did take off from everything that we're hearing anecdotally. That we had people sharing with school board members and administrators. The reality, though, is these things take time, and it's going to be really a little while, I think, before we actually see how effective it was. But my point, I think I want to see, is like, it should not be the end of it.
Right.
Everybody who did something last week, do a reminder. This Thursday, remind, hey, by the way, I sent you this last week. Have you guys had any conversation? Just remind that you're not going away. We can't just do it one and done. It's got to be constant advocacy, especially during this time when in some communities, and again, I'm going to say some, and some states, because there are other states and communities who get it and see that we're valuable, and it's not been a question, all right? But in some communities and some states, it is a question. So we need to keep this up and make certain people understand that we're not going away. We're here to support our kids and keep that message on point.
Right. So with that, I just want to you learned this last week with us. I'm going to share with really the country here what we've done in the last 90 days. This is extraordinary. I know a lot of people sometimes ask, how does Missouri do it? I'll be honest with you. It's because of what you said. We have locked arms as a state. We are highly intentional, highly strategic. And this is just a few of the highlights of some things that we've either done or we're doing ongoing. And the first one is Chalk Your Walk. And I know you were part of that. And that was in response when the stuck at home order first hit. And we did that. And we did that for 2 days. And it was a total organic thing. And I know you were involved, and maybe you could share a quick story on that.
Well, yeah, I had, so I go for a run every morning. I usually do, 3 to 5 miles, depending on the weather. And on the running trail right near my neighborhood, I went and I took some chalk and I chalked my walk, and I had friends Facebook, oh, we saw this, and we thought this must have been you. And I'm like, yep, that was me. So it was really kind of cool that people who are not normally going to be looking at this made note of it, and it got on their feeds then. And that's the organic part. I love that when we're seeing those types of things.
Well, yeah, as you know, it reached 44 states and even 3 countries. And really the message was simple: positivity and kindness. And that was fantastic how that spread. Now, it talks about content things we're doing. We've been having town halls now we've never had before. We're also doing panel discussions. As you know, we had a panel that actually took the Shape America Reentry considerations, and we did a full panel on that with Laura Beckman, Tom Lowry, and our DESI's in our state, Sean Neville. And now we have streaming content on Tuesday in partnership with Missouri Healthy Schools through a CDC grant. Every week we have basically your stuck at home snacks, which is now called Tasty Tuesday. In terms of, you were talking about before about the physical activity side, we also have stuck at home recess. Now that's Spaker Summer Camp, because we're in the summer series. Tomorrow, or on Wednesday, they'll be doing the Spaker Camp. And then on Thursday, you've seen recently, I've been doing this with Lauren Krebs, as we've been educating people just on social media, because here's 2 stats people need to realize. Right now, guys, more than half of the more than half of the world population is using social media. And right now, according to the latest statistics, right now, social media consumption is at a fever pitch. The question is, how can we cut through the clutter and get our message not only heard, but to your point, Brett, acted upon? So please just join us every Thursday at 12 o'clock, because this week's going to be really special, because we're going to dive into the 6 most important elements of creating a post that gets engaged on, that you get call to action, that you're going to double, triple, or even quadruple the results of what you're trying to accomplish. So that's going to be this Thursday. And the other thing that we've done is we've done a great job with our partnerships with the Missouri PTA, with Missouri Healthy Schools. Missouri's Healthy Schools has been working with DESI. DESI's been working with Education Plus. I mean, we are really locking arms together like no one's business. And I was wondering, your thoughts from afar as you see this coming out like almost daily on our social media feed.
Well, it's amazing. You guys really are leading the way for us. And I think that's probably one of the fun things about Stronger Together also. I think a lot of times in the past, people had thought about, okay, their state association providing that professional learning. And yes, now I know there's been a large group of people who've been doing professional learning through Twitter and other social media, but I really think it's taking off now. And just looking at some of the conferences that have gone virtual, that our state conferences are getting huge numbers from other states now, because people now all of a sudden are realizing, oh, this actually is a valid way of getting professional learning. It's not just for those tech geeks that are out there who really like the technology, that this can be something that can really impact what they do on a day-to-day basis. So you guys are leading the way, and it's exciting to see the work you're doing and hoping others can pick up on it.
Thank you, Brett. One thing that's kind of interesting is in the last 28 days, we surpassed the amount of impressions we've ever had, which exceeded the amazing conference we had in November. Our engagement rate is through the roof. Now we're also impacting on a national level on some of the programming that we're doing. And Brett, it's all been, like you said, we have a servant's heart. We're here to serve the needs. We are no longer a convention-only society in Missouri. That's been our pivot. And that's why we've had a lot of success, because you know what, were we prepared for all this? Well, of course not. But we knew that we had to do something. And that's what's been great. We've been calling on other people like Kim Ballard. Love you so much. I mean, you're the ultimate encourager, and some of you, other folks around the country, encouraging things and sharing of ideas like you were talking about before. Because Brett, we need everyone to lock arms. I could not agree more with your mantra for this year to be stronger together. We need it now more than ever. And to be honest, we probably need it more now in the next month than maybe we're ever going to need, because we're going to be facing situations that we've probably never, ever, ever, ever felt or experienced before. That's why we need to lock arms. So with that, What I'd like to do to kind of wrap up the show is get your final word, or I like to say the charge or that call to action as you're speaking to, obviously, to the nation right now.
So there's a couple things. First off, keep an eye out for what's coming out from Shape America in the near future. We have a new grant with the Centers for Disease Control that's helping us develop and provide training and resources and tools during this COVID-19. So that's coming out soon. We'll be doing trainings throughout the year, but we're going to be starting with resources coming out in the next month. All right. Don't forget also Health Moves Minds. I know it was our inaugural year last year, and we had to take a pivot. But here's the reality: Health Moves Minds is even more important now than it was when we first kicked it off. If your school can't do the fundraising, fine. We've got the resources. Many of those lessons are easily adaptable or have already been adapted to be able to work in a hybrid or virtual setting. So please go log on. Even if you're not currently a Shape America member, you can get to the resources for free, and you can log on for those. But also this year, we've got a brand new virtual platform for the program for people and schools that can do the fundraising. And our schools are going to need even more money this year. Our teachers are going to need more money because they may not be able to have used equipment throughout a day. They might have to have multiple sets. So that could be a way for schools to raise more money, or even for your community, because don't forget there's a portion in the community that you can go back and raise money for needy people in the community. Many of our communities are going to be suffering from more people out of work and homelessness. And so you could actually take some of the money that you earn from Health Moves Minds and can be donated to your local charities that support those people in your community who have the greatest needs. So please don't forget those things. They're great resources that are coming out or are already out for us. And I want to make certain everybody goes to the Shape America website and gets those resources to support your students.
Well, Brad, I got to tell you, I'm excited. That's all I can tell you. We're excited every day. Like you said, I can say the same thing you said. There's never a dull day in MOSHAPE. Tom Lowry and I, Dennis Docheff and I, and certainly SEAL Team 6, which is our Health Moves Minds team, as you know, with Christy Berry, Anna, and Kyle. They're just troopers, and you're exactly right. And this is the time that we just lock arms like never before. So, but I want to say thank you for coming on today. This has been such a great charge, if you would, as we all plow through this together. I mean, this is the time to get it done and be a society of action and not just talk. And that's why I love what Terry said earlier. A lot of people can talk the talk, but it's really that walk the walk that makes a difference. So I want to say thank you, guys. From programming standpoint, this week, as you guys know, we have Tasty Tuesday at noon, right on Twitter. We also have Spaker Spot. They're going to be doing more Spaker tips. They're going to actually follow up from last week. They're going to be looking at routines and procedures. They're going to be showing you some more things that come straight from the Shape America Reentry considerations. So look for that. And on Thursday, guys, I really hope you tune in. And if you got your social media folks, please have them tune in this Thursday for Zagging 101. It's Lauren Krebs and I. We're going to go through the 6 elements of a post. This is going to be really this is the meat and potatoes of social media, getting your engagement, getting that message said right, teaching you how to write attention-grabbing headlines. We're going to review Bitly links. We're going to review tagging. We're also going to review another very important element is going to be hashtags, even emojis. So, and last but not least, Brett, to your point, we're going to have what's called the CTA. If you don't know what that is, you need to attend. But that's actually going to be called call to action. We're going to be very deliberate about teaching us all how to get call to action so that we can get more things accomplished through our social media communications than ever before. And then last but not least, we have a special event being put on by Missouri Healthy Schools. It's being put on by DESE in combination with Education Plus. They're actually be doing a virtual and statewide collaboration like they did last week, except this week, it's going to be on the reentry considerations for school nutrition services. So that's going to be this Wednesday from 10:30 to noon Central Standard Time. You guys can check out our social media channels right here at MOSHAPE as well as Missouri Healthy Kids. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of information on that. Sorry for the pause. The frames froze. Oh, the frames froze on me. And then last but not least, guys, we want to absolutely thank you guys for watching this very special edition with Shape America President Brett Fuller. I am Guy Danhoff, and thank you for watching the MOSHAPE Minute.